Welcome back to Frontline Eurosports Online. Nate's going to bring you a delivery of a 2016 BMW K1600GTL exclusive with Joel. Woo! You excited?
Yeah, man.
Heck yeah. So we're going to go over this elite motorcycle with you. The first thing we start with is the front of the motorcycle and our tire safety warning. Riding on a new motorcycle, so ride like you're riding in the rain for the first 50 to 100 miles as you're acclimating to a new motorcycle, and you have a silicone coating on the tires to help them pop out of the mold, preserve shelf life. So we talked about this earlier. The tire pressure, 42 pounds front, 42 pounds rear is what is factory recommended. I'll show you the placard on the battery tray here in a minute. We have a TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system, that's going to give us our tire pressure and the instrumentation. We'll go into instrumentation last. We have a 17-inch wheel configuration, and that 90-degree valve stem gives you no excuses not to check your tire pressure and make sure you're safe riding, sir.
Got it.
With the front end, notice our different front suspension element. We have more of a strut action than a hydraulic dampening rod style. We have a single mono shock called the dual lever. What that is doing is separating our suspension from our brakes, giving us a brake dive reduction of 80%, which I know you felt on your demo ride. Applying the front brake, not only do we have that working for us, but we also have an integral braking system. When you apply the front brake, it's applying the appropriate value to the rear braking system, keeping it even more balanced and level for you, more predictable. We have already outfitted our LED auxiliary lighting down at the bottom of the motorcycle here. That is going to be matching to our LED headlight system that has a xenon adaptive bulb to it that's going to go around corners for you. And with the exclusive, you have that special backing, a different color. It's the more silver white color than the black color that you're going to see on the normal K16s that we have in the background here today. So just above that, if we need a little extra wind brought into us on warmer days, we can slide these little boogers out and be our motorcycle air conditioning. It's just going to direct air directly towards you when this machine is typically so well designed that you're not going to have any wind buffeting. You're in this calm pocket of air, even weather resistance for water as we discussed previously. The exclusive model has your chrome highway peg or highway bars already on here. We put your aluminum work adjustable highway pegs on this machine. So that is a factory implement on this motorcycle. Your inline 6-cylinder is slammed down at a 55-degree angle, which keeps the center of gravity really low and that light presentation you felt. You have a 6 as a theme, 6-cylinder, 6-speed transmission, 6 exhaust output ports. It's the theme of the motorcycle. Below here, we're going to see a tube. This is our water pump and a tube going to our radiator. So we have our cooling system complete there. We've got our oil fill and check located on the right hand side of the motorcycle right here. Our brake pedal. On the GTL models, they have a larger foot peg surface area and a beautiful brake pedal that is going to lead back to our hidden master cylinder. We have formed metal lines going to the ABS module and then steel braided lines going back to the rear brake caliper. Our overflow reservoir is right here so we can see fluid levels and fluid clarities, just like we would on the front brake master cylinder with the sight glass. You have their pillion pegs located right here. Our exclusive comes with a heavier sheen or chrome to it on the exhaust pipe, the mufflers. We have the key fob. The key fob is going to have keyless ride attributes to it, keyless fuel entry, but we will need this lock cylinder to remove the seat or to remove the pannier system. So right now, we have it on lock, so I can push our button on the pannier and open up our side pannier, exposing our bag liners that you've already got filled with your goodies ready to go home.
Yep.
But if we need to take that whole kit off, we can release this. Put the key in the lock cylinder, twist right until your handle pops up, and then your whole pannier system removes that quick and easy.
That's it.
We can do the same thing with the top box for you.
Holy cow.
But the top box has some extra implements around it, like the exclusive featuring armrest. So that's something that does, if you look, has bracket that goes down underneath that area. So it's a little bit more, you'll have something still there on a GTL exclusive with the armrest. If we come around the back of the motorcycle, the exclusive has an additional brake light in the top box. It doesn't come factory in the GT or GTL. We're going to have an LED brake light and turn signal assembly. We have a light to illuminate our license plate that you're going to have down here. And then the same system with our box. We have pushing in, opening up, hydraulically assisted. The only thing I can find wrong with the BMW, I have to touch the chrome to close it. So your fingerprints will be there, but the police will always be able to track you that way. Okay. We're also going to have the locking element or the central locking system that we can use to permanently lock our side panniers and our top box. As we get down low on the machine, you're going to see that we have the paralever shaft drive, which gave us the open single-sided swing arm, really quick and easy to pull off that rear tire, which we have the Road Tech Metzlers on there right now. And this is a tire size that is going to be really easy to find. Your 190, 55, 17, 120, 70, 17 front, so you should have no problems finding tires anywhere you go. If a motorcycle shop doesn't have them in stock, probably got to go somewhere else. Okay. That's the most common tire size out there. We're going to have a torsion bar on the top of this paralever, which is going to give it a more sporty feel to it. It doesn't have a levering action of old systems that shaft drives used to lift you under acceleration. We have on top of that our ride height sensor, steel braided brake lines, an additional cable there. That's for our traction control and ABS. It's for our speed sensor pickup. We have the tire pressure that I promised I'd show you earlier, where we can see for different loads, different tire pressure recommendations, which were typically 42, 42 all the way around on this machine. And while we're back here, the lock cylinder for our seat removal, our pillion seat gets low and nuclear levels, where you're going to get 5-position adjustable saddle heat, which we'll demonstrate briefly in a second. We have our pockets that are going to be storage on this side, and on the other side is our plug-in for an audio plug-in or a USB. Above that, we're going to have our radio buttons, the only controls that are not really easily accessible. Everything else on the BMW you can do with gloves on and easily accessible. 6-speed transmission, as we talked about, 6 being the theme, Joel. Spin-on filter located right on the side, easy to access right there. So, we're going to get into the handlebars and controls, unless you have any further questions at this point in time.
Not right now.
All right, so as we get into the controls, we have our front braking system, which you can see your fluid there in your master cylinder overflow, giving you fluid level, fluid clarity, your nice chrome attributes you get with your GTL exclusive. You experienced the ride-by-wire throttle. Tell me what your first impression was of the ride-by-wire throttle.
Very sensitive.
Yeah?
Yeah, very sensitive, very quick.
You like it?
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Excellent. And you rode it in rain mode.
Yeah, I haven't gone to the other yet.
I'm going to surprise you, and I put it in road mode, so when you leave, now that you're acclimated to the bike, you'll have a little bit more exhilarating experience.
It's easy to change.
Ride-by-wire, central locking. You can hear me lock all of the pockets down simultaneously on this motorcycle, and on-locking. We have mode, which is going to be rain, road, and dynamic, attenuating our throttle response, ABS, and traction control intervention, all with the push of one button. Right. Traveling to the left side, we have our auxiliary lights, electronic windscreen manipulation, our menu button, which I'll get into in a second, conventional turn signals, conventional horn, trigger finger for the high beam. So if you place your left hand on that for me, sir, we're going to have pulling in to flash intermittently and pushing out for a constant hold on high beam. Pull it back in, we're back at low beam. So that's one thing that'll be different from the other previous machines you've owned. Before we go into those guys, we got cruise control. I can't demonstrate it and show you the light, obviously, because we're not moving and can't really initiate it. But there's our cruise control. Stays accurate within about 1 mile an hour, uphill, downhill. It's amazing. You'll love the heck out of it. We have keyless fuel entry. Look at that. Keys in my hand, but I just opened up my fuel filler. We're going to leave this in our pocket when we stop at a petrol station, kill the bike, open up our fuel filler, refuel, and take back off down the road. Cool. Minimalistic movement of keys and body components here. So I want you to turn this machine on for the very first time with a quick push of that button, which when we're done with this, I'm going to show you how that actually works as a steering column lock for you as well. Turn the radio down, doesn't pick up inside very well. We have our speedometer, tachometer, a display for our lights to give us information, just like turn signals and our high beam, things of that nature. I'll go over that in a minute. We have our flashing lights, which is our traction control warning lights and ABS and whatnot. We're going to have a gear indicator, a mode selection, temperature, fuel level, timepiece, odometer, trip meters, the lower board computer that I can manipulate and put whatever I want there, our suspension settings as they are current, and right now our audio. Audio, we can up and down with the multi-function controller. That's volume. If I need to find a channel, I can see through channels by pushing it left or right. So that's going that way and coming back this direction. What's up, Tony? Doing good? Yeah, man, good to see you in the Daytona out today. So then we can turn the volume down or reach down to the on button, briefly hit that, and it'll mute it. To completely eliminate audio, we just hold the on button and turn it all the way off. You'll see your 6 back in the display. I'm going to turn it back on and go through our sources. We have audio, USB, satellite radio, and auxiliary. If we go back to the audio, there are multiple modes. We'll have the manual mode that lets us seek whatever is available. We have as, and we have our memory stations, which then brings us to our memory button down below that. Let's get it back into 96.9 here. We'll mute it for the rest of the delivery. So with your right hand, start going through the buttons with me manually. Let's hit the central locking system. You heard it lock, heard it on lock.
Okay.
Mode selection, we tap to activate that. It brings a eliminated road up. We'll tap it again. Dynamic, tap it again. Rain, tap it again. One more time to bring it up and to tap it. This is something you can do at a stop. You can do it running. You can do it off. You can do it on the fly down the road. We would just suggest getting it to the selection that you want. It'll sit there and wait for you to zero out the throttle and pull the clutch in, let it coast for about 3 seconds. Switches everything over, take off back down the road. So if you see that cloud with that rain coming, you can go ahead and switch it right when you're going down the road. You don't have to pull over.
So you tap it and then say that again?
Tap it once and then continuously tap to go through different modes.
Right, got that.
First button activates the menu and then lets you rotate through the menu.
Got it, okay.
Now, if we slide over to the left-hand side, we're going to have our auxiliary lighting that we can see illuminating down at the bottom here.
Okay.
And that is an extremely effective system for us. We're going to have our electronic windscreen. We were in our full down position, now we're in our full up position. If I hit the ignition switch and kill the ignition, this windscreen is going to come down to its resting position, which then locks in your navigation system, which right now is accessible, but if the screen comes down, this bar blocks it from being pulled out. Next, we're going to go through our menu button, the most important part. So, if you want to hit that menu button for me one time, that brings us to our little board computer right here. We'll start at the very top. We have average consumption, 35.2. Consumption, instantaneous. It'll show you what you're instantaneously doing when the bike's on and running. We have range on fuel tank. And when you left, your range was at 188, and that was with 0 miles pretty much on this motorcycle. So what you just did was now reading how you're riding, and that meter's not just saying, hey, use this much fuel, it's your riding habits taken into account with that. So it stays accurate to your riding style. We're gonna have our average speed, ambient air temperature, our TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system. Rotate this 7 feet, 7 miles an hour, and that will come up for you. Stopwatch, chronometer, travel times, date, electric voltage, oil level, or turning display off. Me personally, I think it's very important to have our tire pressure monitoring system, and also if you look, we completed the motorcycle in a little picture. So the next thing we're going to do is hit the menu button for me. That takes us through our trip meters, which obviously you have your trip 1, 2, your trip auto. You can clear those out, but we're going to go through that menu. Now get to the ESA, Mr. Important. The electronic suspension adjustment, we have single with gear, 2 of riding. Those are our pre-loads, how much weight we have on the machine.
Okay.
We go up from there, we have comfort, normal, and sport. Those are damping values. Damping values can be changed as we are riding down the road, just like mode. Our preload can only be stopped and in neutral. We have to stop the machine, put it in neutral, and change that value. Next menu option we have, since we have the Navigator 5 installed on this machine, we are going to have the page that we can slide through. We're going to have zoom ins and zoom outs so that we can keep our hands on the controls and not even have to touch our navigation system above our instrumentation. Next display, 5-position adjustable heated grips with a visual indicator on the display so that you can see that your heated grips are on. Again, 5-position adjustable heated saddle. That is going to be for you, and the passenger has their own with a visual indicator. So if they're complaining about it being hot back there, they might have accidentally hit the switch on. You will know that they just did that.
Okay.
You have a good day, sir. Yeah. Oh, don't worry about that. Next thing we have is going to our audio system, which the audio system We're going to have our Bluetooth pairing, which is one of your questions. We have our Sirius radio that we can activate and get some free time with. We have our tuner, which is getting us to, if we want, who is singing, what station we're on, and all that happy jazz. We have our sound, which is setting up our bass, our treble, and all that happy jazz. We got our loudspeakers on or off. This is where we want it to go through our headset. We want it to come through our speakers here. Right now, loudspeakers are on. If I go and turn them off, that will allow it to go through my headset. And we'll go over that deeper in a minute. We also have a user, which is going to be language, time format, brightness of the screen, your startup logo, your background, your factory settings reset. This is all personal preference such. We've got our vehicle, alarm system, headlight. If you want to take this thing to the UK and ride it, we can switch to headlight and how the xenon adaptive headlights work for you. We got our ground lighting that we can turn on or off, as the GTL exclusive does feature ground lighting. And then we got time, date, and dynamic traction control. The DTC, we can turn that off. It says once next to it because every time we turn the machine off and turn it back on, it will come on with the DTC, which is the dynamic traction control, the DTC. Right. Anytime that you see an arrow, white or black, that gives you the option of going that direction. So I have a white arrow, I can go back. I have no more white arrow. If I go back, it goes to the default screen, which is audio. So then I have to go all the way back through. None of them have a back option except for when you get into the very last display. Then they'll let you go in, change it, and go back, which is your audio user and whatnot. One thing I really want to show you that's very important, maybe not right now, but in time you'll start to use this and like this function. We're going to make a favorites menu. Right now your favorites is the very first menu you're going into essentially. So that little triangle designates that that's my quick reference button. I want to say suspension is important. I pick a lot of passengers up, drop them off. I change the load on the motorcycle frequently. Constantly hold the triangle above the menu button. That puts the triangle in your display. Now if I'm at my default screen, instead of going 1, 2, 3, I can go back from my default screen with one button and change my suspension settings.
Okay.
That is your BMW K16GTL exclusive in a nutshell. Do you have any more questions for me at this point in time?
Not at the moment, but I'm certain I will.
Excellent. Well,
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for your business. We
Thank you.
appreciate letting us
You
run
guys
your
been
business.
great. Thank you very much.
You're going to have a lot of fun with the K16GTL exclusive with that extraordinary 6-cylinder sound, amazing technology,
That sounds
and
good.
comfort.
Yeah.